Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris Cathers. I'm the Executive Director of the Kentucky Arts Council, and we welcome you to this series that we're offering through the month of May. I'd first like to start off with a land acknowledgement, and the land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationships that exist between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. Today, we stand on ground occupied by ancient peoples whose history has been lost, but whose legacy remains. The evidence of these ancient people can be seen all over Kentucky through the mounds and artifacts that are left behind. Today, over 170 American Indian tribes are represented by their members living and working in the Commonwealth. Let us honor those who were here and those who are here now and build on the legacy of stewardship of the land they left for us unto the seventh generation. I will now turn it over to Mark Brown with the Kentucky Arts Council. Mark.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome everyone to this year's first installment of Celebrating Art and Culture of Kentucky. We began this series 2 years ago so we could learn more about Kentucky artists and communities and how they contribute to our Commonwealth's dynamic cultural landscape. This will be a facilitated conversation where the personalities and values of the artists will be the focus. I'm eager to introduce the facilitator for our next 3 programs and the featured artists for today. Cintia Segovia is an artist and assistant professor of art and design at Murray State University. We got to know her when she participated in the Arts Council's traveling exhibit, Our Kentucky Home, Hispanic and Latin American Visual Art in the Commonwealth. You can watch an interview with Cintia that we recorded last year as part of the Arts Day series, and I'll post a link to that in a minute in the chat. Cintia will talk with 3 members of the band Appalatin. The band name is a portmanteau of Appalachian and Latin, and the group is an amazing blend of musicians, singers, and songwriters who united and used their various cultural backgrounds to build something new. They have been superstars of the Arts Council's Performing Artists Directory for about 15 years, and they continue to deliver great new music and performances. Often, artistic and cultural ideas can't be fully expressed in just one language. Therefore, some of the conversation today will be in English, some in Spanish, and maybe we'll even hear some Spanglish. Cintia and Yani will translate as needed along the way. So let's get started now and turn it over to Cintia Segovia.
Welcome everyone. Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I'm so excited to see like a lot of people here, familiar faces and new faces. And it's a privilege to be able to talk today with like great artists, and I'm such a lover of music, and I would love to also share that with you. And I have a lot of questions, like coming from Mexico City and having moved to first California and then Kentucky. I think I share a lot of the concerns and the background that we might hear today, and I'm also interested on all the other stuff that we haven't heard about Appalachian. So the first question I would like to ask the group is, how did you meet? How did you end up like getting together in such a big state like Kentucky? How did that all come about? And is was the Spanish something that attracted you, or it was just the music?
Yeah, so great question, and we get this a lot. So my name is Yani Vozos, and I'm originally from Estill County, Kentucky, but I was a Peace Corps volunteer, and so I lived in Honduras for almost 3 years, and that's where I learned how to speak Spanish. And when I was there, I just developed this love for Latin music. I really love Latin music and dance, and I learned a lot of songs when I was there. And Cuban music, I really, excuse me, really love Cuban music also. And when I came back to Kentucky, I met another guy from Eastern Kentucky, Steve Sizemore, who had also lived in Latin America. Steve Sizemore, he plays congas and percussion in the group, and he lived in Chile and Argentina. And so we started playing music together, and then we met Marlon Obando from Nicaragua. And so Marlon and I kind of spoke the same language, you know, being in Central America and whatnot. And shortly after that, we met Fernando. And this all happened very organically. I think we were playing on the street when we met Fernando and started playing music again. This was just as friends, just playing music as friends. And then Luis de Leon moved to Louisville, and it was at a party, I think. He came over and he had his harmonica, and we started playing music, and it was just like, wow, this is cool. This is something, we should explore this deeper. And so one thing led to another, and here we are 17 years later. We're still together. We've recorded 3 studio albums. We've had probably 700 live shows, and we've traveled all over the region, and we're still playing music, so it's really fun.
Algo que quieran agregar, Luis or Fernando? That was a great overview, but do you want to chip in? Or
as the question you asked, what was the music or the language we brought together? I think both because it was the music, but also it make easier the language too, because you know, all the members speak both languages, and then it helps a lot to get more, how to say, confidence, but because of the language, because they call communication. But at the same time, the classes with the music, once we discover that we have different skills in different music, and we start putting together, you know, what just like Yani says, just organic at this same time that we start developing the whole thing.
Yeah, I remember the first time I know Fernando and Marlon in the World Fest. Was in September in 2009. One friend, Esteban Bartlett, he said to me, "Hey, this is guys. You know, I introduced this guy. It probably you incorporate with this band." Because we played together with Esteban. He played the trumpet. For me, in the first time when we play music, I feel good connection. We have same history. It probably was more easier because Yani, his Spanish is very good, very clear. The English not too much. Nice joke. But Steve, he live in Chile, Argentina, and Fernando, he lived for maybe 25 years. They have in Marlon, I don't remember exactly, but they pick up different situation. If for me, I am new, the music was great connection. Appalatin. I remember the first time we play, maybe in Nashville, when we play out in Louisville. Oh, maybe, yeah. Either people ask, where are you from? You live in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York? We said, Louisville, Kentucky. Huh? What happened in Louisville, Kentucky? But your sound is mixed. Oh, interesting.
That's a great segue for me, because I looking at on your records, and I saw that you have played with La Santa Cecilia from Los Angeles, and there is a lot of I don't know how to say it, but a lot of assumptions about how as artists we are associated only with the Latinos, right? So our world is like the Hispanic and and we only call like resurface when there is like Hispanic Heritage Month. So how do you guys, Jani's already laughing. So how do you guys like bring together the spiciness of like Kentuckian music, like the equivalent in food for barbecue with like the Latino flavor? Me encanta la comida, what can I say?
How do we do it? Well, so excuse me, the whole thing is an experiment. I'll just say we're experimenting, and we're taking these aspects of traditional music from, you know, the Andean mountains where Fernando's from Central America and Mexico, where Luis and Marlon are from, and then also from Eastern Kentucky, where Steve and Jose and I are from. Jose as the bass player, Jose Oreta. And so we're just kind of, you know, bringing them together and seeing what happens. We have other influences, you know, I would say probably like a gypsy or like Spanish gypsy kind of feel, then Cuban music, and then cumbia music.
Which is kind of Afro.
Yeah, it's the African influence. And so we're just really kind of throwing all these things together and seeing what happens. But your question, like at a show, we try and give somewhat of a full arc of what we do. So someone told me once, you know, the band should be called Latin Apple because it's more Latin music than it is Appalachian. And so it's like, okay, well, fair enough. But we do have these kind of traditional Kentucky things that we do. We play some blues, you know, we play kind of some bluegrassy type songs, but it is heavily influenced in the Latin music. So we try and kind of show the arc of the whole breadth of music that we play during a show, unless they're wanting specifically, okay, we need you, okay, Cinco de Mayo, like we need Latin music, you know, but we still will kind of sneak one song, like Kentucky song in there, like Rolling My Sweet Baby's Arms, or some kind of bluegrassy thing. And vice versa, if it's more, okay, we need the more the Appalachian flavor, it's like, well, we're still gonna put in like an Andean song, because Fernando's music is just, it's incredible, it's amazing. And so the reaction we get the most is just like, initially for someone who's never heard us, they're just like kind of confused, like, what is that? But then they're like, oh, this is pretty good, you know, like, because it's happy music, it's uplifting, it's get people dancing and get people, you know, it's a celebration. And that's what I feel brings people together.
Luis, I know that you want to say something, but do you want to watch a video before your comment or after your comment? What do you guys want to do? Because we have like great clips to share with everyone here too.
No, only I add, and some musicians said, oh, Appalatin is eclectic, fun music.
Yeah.
Is there, I don't know, one line?
Yeah.
That's great, yeah. Do you guys want to share some of the clips that you prepared for today now?
Yeah. If we could just we could go down the list. So the Danville Breakdown, that is kind of our bluegrassy instrumental that kind of features the mandolin and the harmonica kind of switching back and forth, and so it's bluegrass technically, but we put the percussion in there, so it kind of mixes and makes it an Appalachian bluegrass.
We are streaming.
Right. The way that Fernando's kind of strumming his guitar. Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
that's
Yeah,
that's really fun, and that always gets the crowd going and jumping around and dancing, and so you kind of see the blend there, where that one was more on the Kentucky Appalachian side, but you know, we throw in the tambourine, we throw in the bongos, and
Latin rhythm.
a little bit, and Fernando. That's the thing. It's like when Fernando plays his kind of bluegrass or Kentucky strum, it's just a little bit different, you know, than what people play here. And when I play my Latin strum, it's just a little bit different than
Yeah.
gives it a little spice and twang.
But Jadi, you need a comment for the dancing. You remember the legs and right, left, yeah.
Yeah,
This is my fun part.
In Yani dancing is Greek.
I'm half Greek. I'm half Greek, so I have to dance. It's required.
I know that. I love that. So it's a very eclectic. Also, your backgrounds are very eclectic, right? Like it sounds like the.
Yeah. So I'm half Greek. My father's Greek, and the name Yani it means John. That's the translation. And Jose Oreta, his father is Filipino. So my father's Greek, my mom's from Kentucky. Jose's father is Filipino. His mother's from Kentucky. And then we have Luis from Mexico, Guatemala area. And then Fernando from Quito. And then we have Steve Sizemore, he's half Melungeon, I think. He's from Eastern Kentucky. So yeah, it is an eclectic mix, and we all bring. And also, Jose lived in South America as well. He lived in Brazil. So we all have this affinity. We all have this love for Latin music.
Yeah, that's so important.
And we also have influences from other types of music too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Rock
Yeah,
music.
Jose speak Portuñol and English. It's Spanish. Yes. Portuñol and Spanish. It's great.
So for those that are not familiar with the term Portuñol, it means Portuguese and Espanol. So we share a lot of like similarities between Portuguese and Spanish. So that is a cool one. And then other things that are completely different. So I love Yani, were you going to say something else?
Oh, I was just going to say if you wanted to see other clips, but we've got a lot of time. So yeah, what were you going to ask?
No, I think it's great.
Okay, yeah. If you want to see the next clip, which is Alpamayo, that's a song, and Danville Breakdown is from our second album, and Alpamayo is from our second album also. This shows Fernando on his various flutes that he plays. Fernando is a master instrument maker, flute luthier, and he's a master musician as well, but he makes all these flutes. I just think it's a miracle, everything. So you can kind of see the difference.
Vamos a verlo.
It's a tradition.
So you get a little taste of what Fernando does. It's just, it's incredible. I love Indian music, and from the first time I heard it, I fell in love with the sounds, the flute, and then he plays the charango, and it's just incredible. And then wasn't that what happened? So my mother, she traveled to South America, and I was like, listen, if you can find a charango, I want you to bring a charango back in. So she's like, okay, how do you spell that? You know, and all this. So she brought one back, and it was the real deal. It had the armadillo shell and all that stuff on the back. And so I was playing that, and I think Fernando told me once, he's like, man, somebody said there's a gringo playing the charango on Barstown Road. You gotta go check it out, you know? And so that's what it was. It was, and then Fernando shows up with his charango.
Ay, ay, ay.
The rest is history.
Pero ¿te lo tomaste personal? Or like you were cool with being called a gringo?
No, I was so happy to hear that and then say, wow, it means because it's hard, you know, that kind of style of music. Not even another people that come from South America are able to play those things, you know, but seeing a gringo playing the instrument, I say, what? Wow, I need to check it out. I need to see what is going on. Because at the same time, my mind came like, wow, give me the people where I can start sharing things and playing together, you know. And it never came to my mind like we're gonna keep going like the way we are now. But as soon as we got together, I was so happy. But in my experience of being at first, ¿cómo se dice? Conociendo, ¿no? Como la música de aquí, de los Appalachians, o el folclore de aquí, de esta área, mis primeros conocimientos, mi primera conexión fue con, perdón por decir eso, no sé si estoy haciendo propaganda, pero fue con John Gage.
No,
Es un ícono de folclore, de un activista de aquí, de Kentucky. Creo que él viene de Oklahoma, algo así, but his life has been here. And that was my first connection of being able to blend the Appalachian music or folk music with Andean instruments. Because it wasn't, we would share maybe the some later.
Yeah, Shady Grove.
Actually,
Shady Grove, yeah.
yeah, actually we would blend that with him, you know, but we made it famous with Latin.
Yeah. Fernando was, I think you translated yourself there, I think he said just his first experience, you know, getting to know the music of Kentucky was with John Gage, and they did an arrangement for a mix of the traditional songs, the traditional song from Kentucky being Shady Grove, and the Andean song being Gotita de Lluvia, which Fernando plays on the charango, and I believe, yeah, that's the next clip we'd like to share, Shady Grove and Gotita. You can kind of see the charango and the magic.
Shady Grove, my little love.
See the mix there. We were coming out of Gotita and going into Shady Grove, and so that's that was the song. That was the song for me, at least, when I knew it was like, because Steve came up with the name Appalatin, you know, but we were just playing Latin songs, and we were just playing Latin songs, I think. But it was like when Fernando showed us that song, it was like, that is Appalatin. That is the mix. That is the blend of the two traditions. And so, you know, when you blend two traditions, of paying homage and you're honoring the tradition and everything that's come before it, but when you blend them together, you're creating something new.
Yeah.
And so that's, you know, that's what we're doing. And yeah, it just keeps going, and we keep we keep developing it.
Yeah,
So
you
it's-
know,
it's
through the
pretty cool.
music, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
Through the music, through the language, through the connection, the family's connection, we have created actually a new community. Because that's, I would say that's the world, you know. That there are immigration movements around the world, but and then once somebody from somewhere else is make a place where to make his play, and then they start creating a new community, you know, creation of new things. And I think that's the world. Yeah.
Yes, yes, he's absolutely right. And that's, you know, that's our aim, that's our goal when we're playing music, when we're playing shows, when we're writing songs. You know, our goal is to bring people together and create new community, you know, without borders, you know, where everyone is included, where everyone's accepted, and more than anything, where we can celebrate being together. That's our thing. We love to play music, and we love to celebrate being together. And so many times, especially, you know, when we play these certain shows in Louisville, it's like a reunion. It's like a family reunion, you know? Like when we play at Cherokee, or when we play at World Fest, it's like a family reunion. So and it was strange during the pandemic. So, you know, we can that was weird. But maybe we'll talk about that later. I don't know. If you wanted to hear some more music.
Or I would like to hear more music, but also Luis, do you have anything to add?
Sorry. Perdón.
¿Tienes algo? Es que pensé que ibas a decir algo.
No, bueno, es interesante porque todas las canciones, the old song and Louis for Appalatin, have a different interpretation for the public. Sometimes we play, for example, Shady Grove, and here the reaction is different, but we play other song in other town is very interesting because it's different reaction. Y a veces hay canciones que no creemos que va a haber reacción y la gente tiene reacción, y eso para nosotros es como mágico, porque cada canción tiene lo suyo, pero los públicos son tan distintos y las reacciones son tan diferentes.
Y eso seguramente es lo que los mantiene frescos, right? Like to have to see the different reactions. Like you can always, I'm sure that you have your repertoire that you develop for a specific location, and you still get surprised. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's for the vibe. Yeah.
When do you expect to see la gente bailando and like just people like enjoying themselves, or when is like what you want to see from your audience en sus conciertos?
Oh, creo que the level o el termómetro
Sí.
always is the children's. That they start, and then the adult, and then the gente de la tercera edad, all people, así se dice, ¿no? Tercera edad. Y es como nuestro termómetro. Los niños siempre son. Y nos escriben en servilletas o en papeles. Muchas gracias. Y esos los recolectamos y los guardamos.
Okay. Something that it's very important, like, and it resonates with me, besides that the kids like are the ones that like love the music, is that I'm a big fan of bluegrass music. And that only came up because, yeah, Yani, like his eyes went up. That's just because when I moved here, I wanted to learn about the state. So I didn't think that I was going to like bluegrass music, but I love bluegrass music. So I was trying to think about why I like it so much. And I thought that I don't have any scientific, I'm not a musician, but I think it's because of the rhythms of the ballads, the Mexican ballads, like the música banda. I think it has that, like the strings, something about that really moves me. And I think also the connection between that ranchero and like bluegrass, and how it moves also the Latino community. Like I have seen that it happens also in bluegrass.
Oh,
Yeah, dale, Luis.
oh, sí, no. For example, I play the timbales. Yeah, it's the titi-tac, titi-tac, titi-tac. This is a beat. Is exactly música regional mexicana. It's my culture. Y lo traigo porque other bands in Mexico, titi-tac, titi-tac. No es de cumbia, no es salsa, is other a beat, y I incorporate an Appalatin.
Yeah, definitely is a titi-tac. Like
Titi-tac, yes.
Yeah,
Big-
it's like
big
the
part of our sound. That's a big part of our sound. And I need to point out that Luis, when he joined the band, he didn't play the timbales. Like he just had his harmonica, and he started little by little. So he just had his harmonica, and then he came with a cowbell, you know, and then it was 2 cowbells.
3 cowbells.
And then it's like what, bongo or something. Anyway, it was just like kept getting bigger and bigger, and now, you know, that rhythm is a big part of our sound. It's a huge part of our sound. And if you listen to our first album that we did back in 2011, and then our most recent album, wow, it's different, and it's more. It's just a bigger sound. It's a bigger sound, and there's a lot more stronger rhythms, and the tiki talk is a big part of it.
Es increíble cómo hemos acomodado nuestras maneras, formas o técnicas de tocar cada uno de los músicos, y hemos adaptado a nuestro sonido cada uno. Entonces eso básicamente creo que le hace muy especial, porque decimos como es bluegrass, no es bluegrass, pero suena como bluegrass, pero el ritmo está ahí, es andino, San Juanito, pero no suena como San Juanito, no, pero San Juanito, San Juanito, un ritmo original, y eso hemos acomodado definitivamente.
Déjame traducir. What Fernando is saying is that it's Appalatin is like a great place for them to develop their strengths and like their own unique sounds, and then make something together. But at the same, like in one hand, there is not like bluegrass, but it has bluegrassy like sounds, and it's not like San Juanito, that I assume that is a sound from Peru, Ecuador, and it's not, but it's not exactly like that. And so it's a blend of many things that they also have developed and like push each other to make it into their own sound. That's a great segue to another clip if you guys want to. Okay, Luis está con ganas de decir algo.
Sorry, I am drinking too much coffee. Probably the example is burger taco with ají. I don't know.
Oh, I love it. I'm there with you. Why-
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Con un poquito de onions, like
Ajá, exacto.
onions on it. Okay. Yani, where are we? Where are we?
One other thing before we go to the next clip, I think you brought a great point, and that's, I think what I heard you say was just how you felt like bluegrass music was familiar to you because of the música ranchera from Mexico and different kinds of styles of music. And it is, and that's what I thought when I first heard música banda, música ranchera in Central America. It's like, wait, that sounds like, because it's that the bass is like boom, 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 boom. And it's like, it's just toe tapping. You're just, it's dance music. It's happy music, and it's all very similar. But that bass line is the same. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's the same in bluegrass that it is in ranchera. So
Sí, también las baladas, ¿no? Like the ballads and the lyrics and las historias de amor, or I especially like the stories on bluegrass that talk about like moving from their little towns in Kentucky to the big city in Cincinnati.
yes,
Which for me,
that's
coming.
that's a big theme. Yeah. And it's
Yeah,
the same in the ranchera. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's the same thing for traditional Greek music also. So this is in every culture. I mean, it's not a new thing. It's just people all over the world are experiencing the same thing. Oh, you leave your country to go somewhere new, and that makes you sad, and you want to sing the blues. So, it's a similar feeling that everyone has experienced. So,
and it's very interesting when Jose Oreta, he add to the some jazzy thing,
Oh.
That's another thing. Yeah, I do my mind when I heard, because Jose is a jazz player.
Yeah. Fernando, can you repeat please the sound?
yeah.
¿Será tiempo de ir a nuestro siguiente segmento musical?
Yeah. So let's show the clip number 4, Sobre Rieles. And this is going to showcase Marlon Obando, who is singer and songwriter and guitar player in the band. And this song, we kind of did a verse in English and a verse in Spanish.
Cura la hierba, se cura con los años. Y baila, 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 no dejes de bailar. Canta, 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 no dejes de cantar. Baila, 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 no dejes de bailar. Canta, 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 no dejes de cantar. Y no más.
When come Kentucky,
So that gives you a little taste of Marlon's song and original songwriting. That song he wrote, and came to me and he's like, I want to do a verse in English. I want to do a verse in English. And that was thematic. Say for our first 2 albums, we were trying to do English and Spanish in the same song, and so we just kind of translated the verse that he wrote in Spanish. And it's hard. It's really hard to convey the same message, to have the same meaning in English and Spanish, and have it be poetic and sound really poetic. And that is what I've found in songwriting, and the things that we're trying to do is trying to get that message to be consistent. And when you're translating, a lot is lost in translation. It's not gonna have the same meaning. I feel like, I can express myself in some ways better in Spanish than I can in English, especially with music and lyrics and whatnot. Another funny story is a song that I had kind of composed and whatnot, and I wrote it entirely in Spanish. And Spanish is not my first language. I'm from Eastern Kentucky, so but in my mind, I wrote the song, and so I'm like, okay, sing it to the guys, and they're just like, So this one part. But what happened was, I was like, okay, well, let's just, this is what I'm trying to do with the song. Let's just sit down and let's write it together. And I think it took, I don't know, maybe an hour or two, but we were able to hammer it out in Spanish. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that process of writing the song together and getting the three different perspectives from Fernando, South America, and then Luis and Marlon from Central America and Mexico, and then Steve and Jose and I from Eastern Kentucky. Like it was pretty cool how it all came out. So
That's great. And another question, like now that we are talking about how eclectic this immigration happens, and like with all the integration of different rhythms, for you guys that came from Latin America, how has it been your story like of immigration in Kentucky, and how do you feel that you're Kentuckian? Or you don't feel that you're Kentuckian yet?
I would say I'm a world citizen. Well, I would say. Well, in my case, I think it was easy to set up to live here, because since the first time that I came to the United States, I started traveling, playing traditional music with the first band that I came over to North America. So pretty much since there, I've been playing music, traditional music in that time, traveling all around the United States. So, and I was going back and forth, going and coming to Ecuador until there was a time that I came a concert in Cincinnati Museum, and a friend that lives here, she invited us to visit Louisville. And then when they came to Louisville, it was for me, it was because I visit big cities. I said, this is not a small town. This is not a big city. This is just perfect. It's nice. I like it. I love it. I love Louisville. And I never thought at that time that I was going to live here. But I say, well, if someday I decide to live in the United States, I will love to come to Louisville. But the time when the universe was there appearing me, and then boom. And I moved like in 2000, about 2000, with my family up here. But always I have been not lucky, but the way that we are open to people, to music, to food. So then it was easy to how to say, adjust to the new world. Because there is huge differences living in the United States than Latin America in general. But,
Para ti, muy bien. Para ti, Luis.
Perdón, la pregunta era, ¿por qué
de,
venimos acá?
sí, ¿cómo se siente ser Kentuckian, latino Kentuckian o inmigrante en Kentucky?
Pues me siento exótico porque somos diferentes. Mi abuela decía, no, si eres diferente, mi hijo, eres exótico para que no me frustres.
So
No.
Luis' grandmothers used to say, if you're different, don't think that you're different. You're just exotic. That's awesome.
Es un proceso, ¿no? Y al principio fue el idioma, el clima, pero también gracias a la música Appalatin principalmente, he ido abriendo o hemos ido abriendo diferentes rutas en nuestras vidas. y creo que la música nos ha dado esa oportunidad de poder conocer más a Kentucky.
So the all their roots and like the background like has allowed also for getting to know Kentucky in a more open way, like in a way of discovery and not having like also like preconceived ideas.
Exacto. Y bueno, y la verdad yo me siento con mucho privilegio porque cuando se es inmigrante se empieza en cero, pero yo siento que Yani, Fernando y Marlon y Steve, bueno, me estaban esperando, yo así lo siento.
Oh,
Y,
so
y
he feels that even though it's been hard to be like learning another language and like being in Kentucky, he feels that all the band, Yani and Fernando and Marlon and Steve were like energy wise waiting for Luis to come and to embrace him in this new journey together.
entonces, gracias a la música, es, tuve la oportunidad de conocer mejor a Kentucky.
And thanks to the music, he has been able to understand Kentucky in a deeper way. That's really cool. También siento yo la conexión con Kentucky en una manera muy especial, like in bluegrass. I also feel that connection through music with Kentucky, like that part of Kentucky that I don't have a lot of access to, and so I can relate to that definitely. For me as an artist, I something that I didn't have in Kentucky, like from coming from Mexico and Los Angeles, is that I didn't know that there were tobacco workers. I didn't know the tobacco plant. I didn't know where tobacco came from. I thought that it always came from a cigarette. So that for me has been also a way to build community with the Latino community, to build fellowship with other Latinos in my region, which is Maury in Callaway County in Western Kentucky. For you guys, like how do you build that connection with the Latino community?
¿Cómo es la conexión con los latinos?
Sí, en
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Sorry, it's okay. For me, it's good opportunity because I know people from Mexico and Guatemala, but never I have that experience with other cultures, Colombia, Ecuador, Cuba, o República Dominicana, o Puerto Rico, o Chile. Y, wow, somos tan diferentes y somos tan iguales que vamos aprendiendo, ¿no? Y me parece un momento muy antropológicamente rico de conocer muchas cosas, no solo música, sino también personalidades y palabras y malas palabras.
So Luis has also been fellowship with other cultures from Latin America and discovered how we are very different, and like in food, we are very different, but also very similar in other ways. That's great. Yani, do you want to pitch in, and do you guys think that we should open after we conclude this question to open it up to other Q&A, like from the public?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. As far as connecting with the Latin community and just connecting with community in general, we play a lot of community events. We play a lot of festivals and neighborhood events, which, you know, here locally in Louisville and throughout the state. And so that's what we're trying to do. You know, those are the shows that we get asked to do a lot, but that's what we've always sought out. We've always looked for those opportunities because of what we are and who we are and what we do and the music that we play. I feel like it's an opportunity to bring people together and for people to learn something, you know, that maybe they didn't know before, you know, and to have an experience that they might not have ever had if they had like an idea in their head, you know, whatever prejudice or, you know, thought that they have about certain people or certain groups or whatever, but then they come to a show and they're just like, and it's just, it's everybody, it's everyone, you know, every race, every background you can imagine. And it's just everybody's happy, you know, it's just everybody's happy. We're putting that out there. And like Fernando said, you know, we're building our community, you know, which is all inclusive, which is based in this idea of celebration and celebrating, you know, everyone being here together, because we're more similar than we are different, but we can also celebrate our differences, you know, because that's what makes things fun and new is different things.
What a great way to conclude that. Like that's really, I think that's like, it's a really good way to round off this conversation because I'm going to repeat what you said. It's all part of the like we are all humans, and as Fernando also said, like somos ciudadanos del mundo, like we are citizens of the world. And what a great, like music is such a great way to transcend borders.
Yeah, prácticamente estamos rompiendo un poco las barreras a veces de la comunicación, del llevarnos, de mezclarnos, y que prácticamente a veces las comunidades, por ejemplo, latinas, que vienen de cierto país, por ejemplo, de ciudades grandes, se estandarizan en un lugar y muchas veces de ahí comienzan a desarrollar, of course, su comunidad, música, todo eso. Pero muchas veces están ahí, ¿no? Y a veces pierden ese gusto de abrirse y de comunicarse con el resto, ¿no? Entonces, en este caso, Appalatin estamos haciendo ese pequeño cambio, ¿no? Pequeño gran cambio de abrirnos más, de hacernos sentir más, ¿no? A través de la música, ¿no? Y porque muchas veces la comunidad latina a veces mismo no entiende eso, ¿no? Por el hecho de que estamos haciendo esa mezcla, ¿no? A veces tal vez quieren escuchar salsa y dicen, oh, salsa, música latina, salsa, o solo merengue, o solo música regional, música banda, y si no escuchan eso, pues ya no es banda latina, ya no quieren escuchar. Pero entonces, de esta manera, yo creo que estamos haciendo un cambio inmenso, en donde nuestra propia comunidad, el mezclarse, el ponerse vivo, atento a donde vivimos, ¿no? Y abrirnos y formar la comunidad que nueva que viene, ¿no? Y eso es una parte súper esencial acerca de Latin.
Wow.
Yani, do you want to translate?
Excelente, fantástico. Yeah, I'm going to try. So what Fernando was saying is that the music that Appalatin plays, we're breaking the barriers that a lot of people have, and I'm assuming it means like Latinos have to, you know, getting out into the community and mixing with the bigger community and people in the city and throughout the state. He said that, you know, many times people in the Latin community will just stay within their circles, within their community, and just with people like, you know, that speak Spanish, or, you know, in certain stores and in certain restaurants and whatnot. And they also can be just very specific about, oh, I only listen to music, to salsa music, or I only listen to cumbia music, or regional music. And he said that Appalatin kind of gives this opportunity for people, Latin people, to hear something new and to venture out and to mix with others in the community. I've never heard you say that before, but wow, it makes so much sense. It really does. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. That was
I think I got it. I think that was most of it, right? Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah. Okay, let's and now I'm going to move on to a little bit of the Q&A. So Mark is asking, can you talk about, and I'm gonna do it in Spanish since everyone can read it in English. ¿Pueden hablar de otros proyectos que tienen con otros grupos, por ejemplo, con Yapa o Yani's solo álbum?
Japa.
Bueno, en mi caso, esto se dio producto de la pandemia, ¿no? Que comenzamos a hacer un pequeño proyecto, asimismo como amigos, con Greg Acker, que es un flautista muy bueno, un etnomusicólogo de aquí. Comenzamos los dos tocamos flautas. Claro, mis flautas son diferentes, las de él tocaba saxofón y flautas metálicas. Pero comenzamos asimismo ¿cómo se dice? A jamear.
Experimentar.
Pues de ahí nació la idea de que, bueno, pues sigamos tocando, y qué nombre le ponemos al grupo. Estábamos hablando acerca de cómo, o sea, ya la música existe de todo aquí, ¿no? Entonces, yo le digo, bueno, pues seamos un poquito más el resto del tope, como decir, el condumio para toda la música. En el quichua, en el lenguaje quichua, yapa significa como decir, cuando tú compras en el mercado, el vendedor te da un poquito más y te dice la yapita, la yapa, para que regrese el customer.
Okay.
Entonces, dejamos
Como
todo
tip.
el nombre y estamos ahora proyectando un poquito más, estamos haciendo como más tropical, más como cumbia, pero también metemos un poquito, también le ponemos un poquito de sabor andino. Y también estamos, porque durante la pandemia no estuvimos casi mucho, no, estuvimos un poco en movimiento, pero no nos juntaba.
Okay, so I'm going to translate so you can think about your question for Yani. So what Fernando was saying is that during the pandemic, things like changed for everyone, and he had the opportunity to meet other musicians like Gregory Acker, and he also plays the different flutes. So they both play flutes, but different ones. And so it was an opportunity for other musicians to have more of a Latin sound. And the name Japa came from when you are it's a quiche more than when you're in a market and you pay for your product, they give you a little bit more, like a tip to the customer, get it? So in a way to entice you to come back, like they are just trying to give you, show you appreciation, and by giving you a little bit more, and that's what in Mexico would be like a little bit of propina. No, it's not, no es propina. It's like a tip.
Algo extra.
Algo extra, yeah, like an extra.
In New Orleans, they have a word for that. They call it lanyap. Lanyap, but it comes from Quechua. It comes from South America.
Oh.
La Yapa, La Ñap.
Oh, I see.
So they just adopted it, you know, the French or whatever culture in New Orleans just adopted the La Yapa to be La Ñap.
Like when you ask a band, when they finish the set and then you ask,
One
one
more,
more,
one more.
una más, es la yapa.
It's La Yapa.
Okay.
Y
So,
en México, en el sur es ñapa, o sea, con
Ñapa.
ñ, ñapa.
Okay, what about you, Johnny?
Yeah, so I have a project called Kentucky Soul that I also started during the pandemic, just because, you know, we were all very isolated. And anyway, I also had an injury to my hand and I couldn't play guitar for a while. So I was kind of dreaming up other things. And so basically it's a lot of original music that I have written over the years that I'm recording and releasing just via singles, just one song at a time. And so it's just different stuff, but different things that, different kinds of music, like kind of more rock. But then I just released a salsa song also, so that's entirely in Spanish. So it's a little bit of everything. I do instrumental music, and so I'm really excited about it. It's giving me another way to share my music and share my message. So I'm excited about it. And Luis has his the hot coffee breakdown also that he's playing touring.
It's an Irish Latin music. We play the contra dance. We play in Lexington probably next month. It's an announcement, sorry.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. What's the date? Maybe there is people here that are going to be in Lexington. Oh, quién sabe. Quién sabe. Okay.
I don't remember, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Yes.
Oh,
So-
I forgot to mention also, we have a project called Cornbread and Tortillas.
Yeah.
It's a theatrical show, and it's basically music, dance, and storytelling from Latin America and from Appalachia. And so this is like a full show. It's really cool. It's called Cornbread and Tortillas, and we've started to take that kind of on the road, and we play we've done it at many different universities within the state, and also in North Carolina and Tennessee. And so that's pretty exciting. And then I'm playing with my partner Carla Gover in another traditional Kentucky music band called the Corn Maze String Band. So that is very traditional Kentucky music. A lot of it is based in Kentucky, so featuring just music from Kentucky. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on.
Cool. I just wrote them all down.
Yeah.
You see, new products coming out. New products are coming out.
Yeah, cool. So we have one more question from Sarah Cooper. She says, so much joy in your music. Thank you for that. Very needed. You talked about parallels between sounds coming from different parts of the world. The question is, do you think certain kinds of spaces, open, rural, etc., inspire certain kinds of sounds beyond lyrics? Qué buena pregunta. Primero, sí, ¿será que el espacio físico influya en la música? Aparte de la letra.
Claro, sí, yo creo que el espacio físico como las montañas, sí, verdaderamente a la gente le hace vivir como si otro tipo de mentalidad. O en el caso de las montañas de Sudamérica, como son muy altas, pues para los que tocamos vientos, los armonías, los flautas, los pulmones como que se desarrollan más, ¿no? Tienen más grandes.
Yeah. So Fernando thinks that it is probable that there is an influence of the physical space because, for example, where he grew up is in the mountains, and so because of the altitude, your lungs have to develop. They are stronger because there is less oxygen. So for the wind instruments, they have to have like stronger lungs to play that.
Yeah.
¿Qué pasa? Dime, Luis.
Ok, ya pienso que cuando hice una pieza, un artículo y estuve investigando qué traemos cuando nos movemos de un lado a otro. Y lo que traemos es el sonido de la música y los sabores. Entonces, sí nos familiariza una situación y por medio de la música nos sentimos en casa o la comida.
So for Luis, he believes that also the food is an influence on the space. Yani, did I feel that I missed something?
Yeah, the food, yeah, and everyone kind of brings their own flavor to
Yeah,
to the music. This is a great question. I feel like, and what we've said about Appalatin's music is that it's mountain music, because we're all from the mountains. And so that has a similar vibration to it, you know, a similar feeling. And I feel like when I listen to the Andean music, it's so filled with joy, and it's just, I don't know, it's just, especially the flutes. The flute is such a high frequency. It's just, I don't know, it's really special. It's really special. It's a very spiritual kind of feeling, you know. And there's many moments when Fernando's playing certain flutes and I'm kind of in a trance. I'll get into a trance. It's really beautiful. I love it. But it's similar also in some of the music I feel like that comes from Eastern Kentucky. It's just full of joy. It's just full of this high vibration music, this high frequency that just kind of, I don't know, because our bodies are primarily made of water, you know, when the music vibrates that water within us, it just kind of, I don't know, it kind of lifts us up. And so I guess I think that people from the mountains, or music created by people from the mountains has a little bit of that higher frequency. Now, also there's like a lot of people singing the blues, you know, singing, you know, sad ballads and sad songs too. So, but I feel like it's just a more of an uplifting flavor.
Mm-hmm. It might be something scientific there. Yeah, I agree. Like, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah, for that question. And Nancy, she said, we're indeed all world citizens. Somos ciudadanos del mundo. Si lo sabemos o no lo sabemos, esa es otra situación. And she has enjoyed this session. So more panpipes.
More panpipes. More cowbell and more panpipes.
Yeah, I love the cowboy. Well, this was a great conversation. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Gracias, Luis, también a ti. Many thank yous also from like everyone for coming today. And like Yani, it was a pleasure, Fernando, Luis, and now I'm gonna, if you have anything else to add, otherwise I'll hand it over to Mark.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cynthia. This was really fun. I had a great time, and I feel like we could have gone on a lot longer.
I know.
And I wanted to let you know that we are going to be playing.
Ooh.
You're likely going to be playing in Western Kentucky in November. So more to come about this. More to come.
No, me dejaron así. Con las ganas de saber, what is the date? What is the date? Sarah and I.
November 3rd. We're looking at November 3rd. So
November 3rd.
So November 3rd. that's, you know, it's a
Casi
lot.
para Día de los Muertos. Like we should talk more. Also, my husband is on board. So
Okay,
Yes, also
great.
in
So,
the-
like I said, it's not confirmed yet, but that's, it's looking good. It's looking good, so
we should talk more offline.
absolutely. Let's be in touch. Let's be in
Yeah.
touch. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you so much, Cintia, Yani, Fernando, Luis. It's been a real pleasure to hear the Appalatin stories today and to hear also an inside perspective on your music. This video has been recorded and will be available on Facebook. If you go to the Kentucky Arts Council's Facebook page and under videos, you'll be able to find it there in the future and share it with your friends. And it'll also appear on the Kentucky Arts Council YouTube channel. You're welcome to review it there and share it with others as well. Want to remind everyone that this is the first of a series this month called Celebrating Art and Culture of Kentucky. And next week, Cintia will be back to interview two Lexington artists, Mercedes Harn and Deyanira Esmeralda Martin of Lexington. Mercedes and Esme are quilters as well as visual artists, and they're participating as folk and traditional arts apprenticeship grant participants and expressing their culture through the Kentucky, through a strong Kentucky tradition called quilting. So we'll invite you back to that and look forward to seeing you then. And thanks again to Appalatin. Everybody have a great afternoon.